this video, we are talking all about how to hold space for yourself, how to be present with yourself, and how to not abandon yourself, to really come back to the remembrance, to the embodiment of the love that you are. So if you have not already watched the first 2 videos in this series, I would highly, highly recommend going back and watching those before you watch this video, because everything else will make a lot more sense. In the first video, we talk all about what self-love actually is and what it is not, and what it is that causes us to kind of lose this connection to self-love, which is actually inherent to who we are. And in the second video, we talk about the first practice when it comes to the remembrance of self-love, which is awareness and mindfulness. So if you have already watched those videos, amazing. Let's go ahead and get into it. In the process of embodying self-love, in coming back home to yourself, it is so important that you learn to hold space for and be present with yourself. By focusing on the present, we reduce the impact of past conditioning, and this really allows you to love yourself for who you are in this moment, in this now reality, rather than thinking about who you were in the past, rather than thinking about who you should be in the future. You are able to be present with and hold space for the you that is here right now. I mentioned this in the first video, but love is a space that is big enough to hold all of you. And now it is time for you to hold space for all of you. Holding space for yourself means that no matter what feelings, no matter what emotions are coming up, you honor them all. You allow whatever it is to be. To allow yourself to just feel and experience all emotions without judgment. Because honestly, there are no bad emotions. There are no good emotions or bad emotions. At the end of the day, each feeling, each emotion serves a purpose in the right time and the right place. And so it's a very dualistic idea or concept that there are good and bad emotions. I mean, truly from a higher perspective, there is nothing but love. Again, it always comes back to that, but we're having this human experience. So we think that there are things that are good. We think that there are things that are bad. Anger is a bad emotion. It doesn't work that way. There are actually times where anger can be beneficial. Anger can be serving. We don't want any one emotion to control us or have power over us. But it is important that we can allow and hold space for all of the emotions without judging them. When you accept yourself for being human, for having human experiences and human emotions without judgment, it allows for a greater space of self-awareness and self-compassion moving forward. You have to be able to sit with yourself and say, I'm not going anywhere. I am here for you. I will show up for you. I will not leave you. I will not abandon you. I am here to listen to you, and I will act on what it is that you need. Think of this part of you as your inner child, as that little girl or that little boy, and be there, hold space, show up, let them speak and be there to listen. If you have a child, or if you imagine that you had a child or a little brother or a little sister, and they came to you and they were feeling sad or they were angry or excited, whatever feeling that they are experiencing in that moment, you would allow them to feel it. And if they were sad, you would hold them and you would let them know that they are safe and protected and that they're allowed to feel what they need to feel. You wouldn't send them away or tell them that they're bad, I hope, or tell them that they shouldn't be feeling this. You would just hold that space for them as their parent. And that is how we need to look at this relationship with ourselves. We are reparenting ourselves in this situation and treating ourselves in the same way that we would treat a child, allowing ourselves to feel safe and to be held in a space of non-judgment. And I just want to mention and honor here that I know and I understand that self-love does not always feel good. We talked about that in the first video, that there's sometimes this misunderstanding that self-love is just like this rainbows and butterflies, feel good all the time thing, and it's not. And this is why self-love doesn't always feel good, because it means going into the uncomfortable spaces and looking at all the pieces and the parts of ourselves that we do not want to look at, that we would rather just push away. And honestly, sometimes that just really sucks. I tried to run away from myself for a very, very long time. So I can understand. I've been there. I've shared on some of my other videos the fact that for a really long time, for about 10 years, I had an eating disorder. I was bulimic. And it's so interesting to me because thank you, self-awareness, but having looked back and having reflected on that experience, what I came to recognize is that a really big part of the manifestation of my eating disorder was actually the fact that for many years leading up to that point, I had really numbed myself and I had really disassociated from my feelings for multiple reasons, but I wasn't allowing myself to feel the emotions that I needed to feel. I was shoving them down. I was repressing them. I was pushing them away. And through my eating disorder, my body found a way to release the energy that I was not allowing myself to release. As wild as that sounds, it is true. And that's what's so, God, it's just what's so incredible about this experience of being human. And it's why it's really important for us to also pay attention to our bodies, because our bodies have a story to tell. And oftentimes when we will not allow the emotions to be released the way that they are intended to, our body will speak up and it will have something to say about that, whether that's through illness, whether it's through sickness or an eating disorder. You know, it could be so many different things, even like a skin disorder, rashes, hives, different things like that. Our body is speaking to us as well, and it's important that we listen. But during this time, during these years that I had my eating disorder, I could not even look at myself in the mirror. I could not even look in my own eyes because I was so ashamed of myself, and there was so much deep-rooted self-judgment. And there's a part of a song, a lyric of a song that just speaks to this so beautifully, like speaks to this whole conversation. I can't remember who the artist is, but the song is called Number One Fan. But the lyric in this song says, "I've been staring at myself in the mirror, saying, don't leave me now." And oh, it just like, it gives me chills, because that's it. That is holding space for ourselves. It's being able to look yourself in the mirror and not leaving yourself, not abandoning yourself in that moment. Do not abandon yourself. Go for a walk and take your feelings with you on that walk. You know, have a good cry, journal about your feelings, put your hands on your heart and breathe into that space, breathe into those feelings. Even start to notice where you feel those feelings in your body. When you allow yourself to be present with the feelings and you start to show support for those feelings, they actually start to dissolve, which opens up more space for love. It's such a beautiful thing, and it's kind of like this circle where it's all connected. Because going back to another one of my ayahuasca experiences, I remember there was a time when I was feeling all of this really negative energy and these really kind of scary and dark entities, energies coming at me. And this happened for multiple ceremonies. And at first, I just tried to send them away. I just tried to say like, no, get out of my space. You're not supposed to be here. And it didn't work. They just kept coming back. Ceremony after freaking ceremony, this kept happening. And finally, one day, I just turned to these energies and I said, you know what? It's okay. You can be here. And I love you. I send love to you. I'm not going to send you away anymore because honestly, I'm too freaking tired to send you away. And in that moment, they were gone. It dissolved. And I remember actually hearing ayahuasca say to me, well, that took a long time. Why did it have to take you that long to figure that out? All you had to do was send them love. All you had to do was just allow. And then there was no more resistance. So it just goes to show that when we stop resisting or trying to turn away or push away these feelings that we're afraid of, it actually allows them to be released. The only way out is through. It's, again, another cliche saying, but it is so true. Also, start to become aware of the ways in which you are disassociating or disconnecting from yourself. In what ways are you not allowing yourself to be present in those moments? Or, are there certain things that you do, certain practices that you use to keep you from having to be present with yourself or having to show up for yourself? For some people, that's going to be being on their phone and using technology to disconnect. Or for some people, it might be watching TV or playing video games. It could be so many different things, but start to think about in what ways. It could be eating. That just came to me too, but it could be, binging or eating food to numb your feelings. There's even over exercising. There's so many things that we could do to try to run away and escape the feelings. And so just starting to become aware, because again, awareness is always the first step. What does that look like for you? And also, are there times where you are actually allowing other emotions to come up in place of the real emotion that needs to be felt? For example, oftentimes when someone is feeling anger itself is not the emotion that is asking to be felt in that moment. It is actually sadness. But because that person is not willing or open to feeling sad, or maybe they've been taught that sadness is not an emotion that they're supposed to feel, they feel anger in its place. So start to become aware of, are there moments in your life where other emotions are coming up in place of the emotion that is really asking to be felt? And be compassionate with yourself in the moments when it feels hard, because there are going to be moments when it feels hard. There are going to be moments when it feels like you cannot freaking do it. I cannot tell you the amount of times where I've been like, how do I do this? I don't know how to sit with myself in this moment. I don't know how to be with myself with these feelings because this really, really sucks. Just do your best. Just, like I said, don't abandon yourself in that moment, even if it is hard, even if it doesn't feel good. Just do your best to stay with yourself and remember to be kind to yourself. If you notice yourself caught up in critical or judgmental negative thoughts, just stop in that moment, become aware of whatever the thought may be, allow it to be what it is. We don't want to judge the bad thoughts, right? Because they're not bad. Oftentimes, this is just autopilot. So let it be what it is, allow it to pass and let it go. And in the next video, we're actually going to dive a little bit deeper into some ways to actually start to release and reprogram these thoughts, shift these thoughts. But for now, just really allow yourself to be aware of it, let it pass, let it go. So I want to end this video by sharing one of my favorite poems with you guys. Shocker, it's a Rumi poem. Again, I feel like that's like the trend of this, this video series is all of the tips plus Rumi poems, but it's a good one and it really fits. So I will just share this poem with you. It is called The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So in the next video, we're going to be talking all about how to rewire the subconscious mind to release all of the old programming, all of the old conditioning and outdated belief systems to come back to the space of self-love. Make sure you hit subscribe so that you see when that one comes out. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.